Hey, what's up, you guys? WWE fan 0599 here again. And welcome back to the universe of the BluTubers. And we're going to be doing the top 10 best albums of 2016. It's been somewhat of a lukewarm year, for me at least. It's been somewhat of a lukewarm year for music. I mean, we've had some good things, we've had some kind of awful things, and we have some okay-ish things. And the guest joining me is none other than the random Eric.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric from the channel Random Eric, and I have two passions: music and movies. Music is my number one, and I actually have not done this video on my channel yet, so I'm very excited to do this with a good friend of mine, W. And yeah, so let's get into this list, man.
Yeah, let's get right into it. So before we get into our list, do we have any honorable mentions? I only have one honorable mention because, like I said, it's been kind of a lukewarm year for music. I didn't get to too many things, but I got to some to make a top 10 best list. But the only honorable mention I have is none other than your boy Drake's Views.
Yeah, okay, that is beautiful.
Yes.
Gotta love Views, man.
We got we're probably the only two people in the world that like Views.
Yes, we're the only people in the world that like Views.
Oh man, but I quite enjoyed it. You know.
Okay, yeah. It's the Struggle Bar Galore album. That's how I call it.
Yes.
Bar's Galore.
So, do you have any honorable mentions, my boy?
Yes, I do. I have 5 because I did like a top 15. So like these 5 are gonna be my 15 for 11. So let's say like that. So my number 15 is Views. I have it on vinyl. I'm sorry. I bought it on vinyl. Yes, I like this album. It's not like the best thing ever. Like the struggle bars are awful. There's a lot of bad lyrics in this album. And songs are kind of boring. There's not a lot of progression in them. But as an album itself, I do like it. So yeah. Okay, so number 14 is J. Cole's For Your Eyes Only. This one has taken a while to grow on me. 20 Hills Drive. I love that album so much. I also maybe it's even a masterpiece. I love it so much. And this one was very different, in my opinion. And it just took a while to grow on me, and then finally kind of like clicked. I was like, this is actually a really good project. Number 13, my boy, The Weeknd with Starboy. The Weeknd had my favorite album of last year, Be Behind the Madness, which represent. And this one, I thought was a good project. It's a very pop album, and it's not like that cohesive. I mean, I like it, but it's growing on me, and I just kind of want to give it a shout out there, because I do like it. Number 12 is the one and only Death Grips with Bottomless Pit. This album was fucking insane. Like this was such a crazy album, and I listened to it on vinyl, and it's such a good album. I love it. It's not like one of my favorite Death Grips releases of all time. My favorite is still probably The Money Store, with a close second being Government Plates. But oh man, it's such a great project. It's so abrasive and so loud and so catchy and just gets you like amped. Oh, it's so good. And number 11, this was so close to being in there, but A Tribe Called Quest, We Got It From Here, Thank You For Your Service. Very close to being in my top 10. Great project, and a great way to end the entire group in general. So yeah, great project. I love it.
Alrighty, so how we're going to do this top 10 list is going to be, I'm going to say my 10 through 6, and then your boy here, the Random Eric, is going to say his 10 through 6, then I'm going to do my 5 through 2, then he's going to do his 5 through 2, and then we're going to both do our number 1. So, let's not waste any more time, and let's get right into this list. So coming in at number 10 for me is an album that's probably not going to make a lot of people's top 10. There's 2 on here that's probably not going to make a lot of people's top 10 list, but you know what? This is just what I like. And that is, at number 10, is Death of a Bachelor from Panic at the Disco.
Fascinating, Twister.
Yes, you know what? I quite enjoyed the album. At first, you want to know something about this album? At first, I didn't really like it, but I gave it a few more listens. I was like, you know what? This is not bad. It's not bad. I quite enjoyed it. You know, there's some really good songs on here. Like, I like Hallelujah. Emperor's New Clothes is probably my favorite song on the entire album. Plus, the music video to it is actually really cool if you've ever seen it.
Yeah.
You know, I like Golden Days, House of Memories. There's some pretty solid tracks on here. Not some of the best that Panic at the, I wouldn't say it's like one of Panic at the Disco's greatest albums or anything, but
No, no.
it's not really. But it's a solid album overall. And I quite liked it for, you know, for what it had to offer, and there were some solid tracks on here. So that is my number 10. Now coming at number 9. This is coming from one of my favorite bands of all time. And this was an album that I didn't get the greatest of reviews, but there are actually some people that quite enjoyed it, and I am one of them. And that is California from Blink-182.
Nice.
Very fun album. It's definitely one, I would say it's a very good project from Blink-182. I know some people were kind of like, iffy on it, but, I thought Matt Scorba, I hope I'm saying his last name right. I thought he was a nice replacement for Tom DeLonge because, as you all know, Tom DeLonge left Blink-182, and Matt Scorba came in as the new guitarist / vocalist, and he was really good. He was a nice fit to this. He definitely got the format of Blink-182, and I thought he did a great job. There's some really great tracks on here, like, Bored to Death, She's Out of Her Mind, Sober, Los Angeles, Kings of the Weekend, and probably my favorite track on here is literally the opening track, Cynical. I think it very much opens the album very well, and honestly, it has the best lyrics to it, has the best drum beats to it, it has some very nice guitar in it. So yeah, so that is my number 9, California by Blink-182. It's a very fun, just kind of enjoyable album that, it does kind of sound a little bit too studioized at some points in the album. That's kind of like, sounds a little bit too studioized, but overall, solid. Solid from one of my favorite bands of all time. So that's my number 9, California from Blink-182. So coming in at number 8, this was an album I literally listened to only 2 days ago.
Okay.
And I listened to it again today, and this album is just so awesome. And this is the first time I've ever listened from anything from this duo, actually. And that is Run the Jewels 3 from Run the Jewels.
Yes! Oh my fucking god. Thank you, dude. Oh.
Run the Jewels. I want to know something? I never have heard of Run the Jewels up until the Needle Drop did the review for Run the Jewels 3.
What the boy, Big Quint?
Yes. I was like, who is Run the Jewels? So I checked out this album. My goodness, is this good. This is really good. I really loved this album. This is just such an awesome hip-hop album.
Mm-hmm.
Really. Now I want to check out more from these guys. I want to check out their first 2 studio albums now.
You should check out Meow the Jewels 2, which is a remix of the second album of All Cat Noises.
Oh, okay. But yeah, just some awesome tracks on here, like Talk to Me, Legend Has It, Stay Gold. Like, I love those tracks. Those are probably some of my favorite tracks on the album. Probably another one is Everybody Stay Calm.
Oh yeah, that's a good track.
Just a really awesome hip-hop album that I think a lot of people should check out. It's really great, honestly. And I can't wait to listen to it more. Like I said, I only listened to it twice. I listened to it first time 2 days ago, and then listened to it again today. It's a really great hip-hop album, and honestly, I want to check out more from these two because this was awesome. So yeah, that's what comes at number 8 for me. Some solid lyrics on here as well. Forgot to mention that.
Yes.
So yeah, my number 8 is Run the Jewels 3 from Run the Jewels. Number 7, this is coming from an artist that I've always enjoyed her music. I actually quite enjoyed her new album. I think this is pretty great, and that's Joanna from Lady Gaga. This nice album, honestly. I thought this was a great project from her. Like I said, I've always enjoyed her music. When she came out with Just Dance back in like 2008, I think. That was her first song. That was really her first break, and from then on, I've always enjoyed her music. So I was quite looking forward to this new album, and it was really good. I really liked it. She's just a great singer in general. If you've ever heard her live, or especially when you hear her at the Oscars last year, like, she can really prove that she can sing, without any, with like any like auto tune or anything. She can actually sing. And one song on here that really shows that is A Million Reasons. That's by far the best song on this entire album, and that really shows her great vocal range and everything. And so yeah, I thought this was another great album from Lady Gaga. I very much enjoyed it. So it comes in at number 7. Number 6. Oh boy, another one from one of my favorite bands of all time, and got the shirt to represent it here today.
Yes, yes, you do.
Yes, and that is my number 6 is The Getaway from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Nice.
This is Red Hot Chili Peppers at its finest. This was really the comeback album they needed after the 2011 album, because that wasn't too great, honestly. Not bad album, but it's all right. But this was definitely Red Hot Chili Peppers coming back and making a statement once again, folks, because it really brings that funk, that funk rock that they've always brought to all of their songs. And, with stuff like, of course, like Dark Necessities or Return Red, The Longest Wave, Goodbye Angels, or even like Encore, The Hunter, Dreams of a Samurai. Just some great songs on here. Of course, Anthony does a great job with his vocals, as he usually does. Chad's great on drums. Just everyone brings it their all in this album, and I'm so glad the Red Hot Chili Peppers finally made kind of their comeback album. So yeah, that's what comes at number 6 for me, The Getaway from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So that was my 10 through 6. Now my boy here is going to say his 10 through 6.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay, so my number 10 is an album that when it first came out, I listened to it and I was like, this album is insane. Like, I loved it. And I haven't really got back to it since, and I just listened to it recently, like the whole thing again. And I was like, this project's fantastic. And this is very high on a lot of people's lists. This is actually Neil Drops' #1 album of the year, and that is Danny Brown's Atrocity Exhibition. This album is insane. Like, it is so crazy, like, production-wise. Like, it blew my mind the first time I heard it. And just lyrically, it's so dark and so gritty. And Danny Brown, just like his vocal delivery on this album is like he has like 2 vocal tabs, like tones. He goes like very high pitched and some is really low. He only does the low like 2 times on this project, and that's what it kind of talks about, like, his like when he was looking back in like the hood and stuff like that, kind of giving us some like retro type of Danny Brown. But then you like have like this high pitched like tone Danny Brown, like he's like talking about how he's having a downward spiral and like being like addicted to like drugs and like wanting like bitches and all the time and like that. Like just basically like he's going insane, and the production accompanies that. Like the production is insane on this album, and it's very catchy at points too. And it kind of reminded me a bit of, like I say, a group like Nirvana, which you're there's a little fan of Nirvana.
Band of all time there.
Yeah, where it's kind of has these like such like catchy like has like melodies and like the beat is just like pumping, but like the lyrics are so dark and gritty. Yeah, and the album does end like kind of like light, and it's kind of like it ends very well and very satisfying. And I don't really know where Danny Brown's gonna go from here. Like this was so experimental for a hip hop album, and I thought it was great. My only repulse of this album is that sometimes the features kind of distracted, like they didn't really fit well, and sometimes like the beats and melodies kind of are a bit like clunky. But that's really it. I mean, I probably say my favorite song is "Tell Me What I Don't Know." That song, I don't know, that song just gets me going. It's like it's the calmest song on the album, but like I love it. Really that was great. And one track, when I first heard it, like I went insane. I think it's a 6th track. I forget what it's called. Yeah, the 6th track has like the crazy production of the album. It's Ain't It Funny. This song like is freaky as hell, and like Jay Ratch is going insane on this. So yeah, this is a great project. I really want to get the vinyl, please, pressing of this at some point. So yes, that is Atrocity Exhibition by Danny Brown, number 10. So my number 9 is a project that I did not like when I first heard it. Everyone was praising it. The Neo Drop did not, but everyone else was like just praising it so much, and like I didn't get it, but then I finally clicked, and that is Schoolboy Q's Blank Face LP. I'm not the biggest fan of gangster rap and like hardcore hip hop.
Yeah, me too.
Which is surprising because like Run the Jewels is hardcore hip hop, like Death Grips is very hardcore hip hop. It's more experimental, but like I didn't really get this album. And then when I finally looked into like the lyrics and what it's really talking about, it finally clicked. And then like with the production, which is sometimes just insane. Like on the first song, I mean, like that. Oh my God, the production and just is so good, and like it just gets you going, and like the lyrics and how he's like just like kind of like describing like the area that he lived in growing up, and just it was just like like mom was wiping shells off the driveway. Like, oh, dude, like that, like this imagery, like she says in the beginning of the song, like I could take you places where gangsters walk. Like he really does. And dude, some of these beats go hard. Like, oh, dude, like the last song, like Chukinos 2, oh, dude, that goes hard. Yeah, dude, I love this project. I thought it was just a great project. And I really want to pick it up on vinyl one day. Number 8 is actually coincidentally another Top Dog Entertainment project, and I do have the vinyl, and that is Kendrick Lamar's Untitled Unmastered. You can call it whatever you want, an EP, an album, or a mixtape. I'm gonna call it like whatever. But yes, I do own this on vinyl, and I do have the autographed version with Kendrick Lamar. Yes, Kendrick Lamar is probably my favorite rapper working today, and he actually, like, oh, dude, he just like his lyrics are so like descriptive and like so politically charged. I love it. And this was like basically like throwaways, like he's like done. I believe for To Pimp a Butterfly. I think that's only what these are basically. And I remember this was a surprise release, and this is just a great project. Like even though it's basically just throwaways, like the way it's like put together in like sequence like together, it's really well done. And it sounds great on vinyl. Like it's very heavy and very bassy and very like there's something very politically charged songs on here. And then there's some songs talking about like corporate businesses, like how to want your money, whatever, like race stuff. Like this is just such a great project, even though it's like throwaways and they aren't even mastered, like Untitled, Unmastered. Like all these songs are untitled, they're not mastered yet, but they sound great. And yeah, I just love this project. That's really all I can say about it because it is only like 35 minutes. But we got a project Kendrick Lamar this year. When we got I'm Satisfied, and I own a signed copy, so that's cool. At least I think it's signed. It looks signed to me, so like it's a real signature. So yeah. Anyway, so that is Untitled Unmastered by the boy Kendrick Lamar. Number 7 is Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels Free. Whoa. So yes, so this was the project in January that I was most looking forward to. Like anything entertainment wise, I was so excited for this project. So when it like dropped on Christmas Eve early, I was like, it wasn't a leak. Like they dropped it purposely like on Christmas Eve. And I was just like, oh shit, I need to listen to this. So I finally listened to it like December 26th, and I was going crazy. This is such a great project. Like I can't tell you how many times I've listened to like Talk to Me, for example. Like I can't tell you how many times that I've listened to Talk to Me. Like, oh man, that song is so good. Other songs, there's what's the song? The song Kamashi Washington. What is that song? That song is great. I think my favorite song is either Everybody Stay Calm or Oh Mama. Like I know they're back there, but those are just great. 21,000 featuring Bots, Boots, whatever. Whatever. Boots, whatever. That I just love, and that just really shows like how politically charged the album is. Why I'm happy this was released 2016, because it's a very political album. It talks a lot about today's political race and just how politically charged like America is right now, and just like the complications, like the political atmosphere right now in America. And I just think that lyrically, like it was just, it's so well done. You have those banger songs, but I do really like the political aspects of the song too. And then the ending of like Kill Your Master. Oh man, that was some good stuff. So yeah, I love this album. The bass was great on it. It's a great album in my opinion. And number 6 is Frank Ocean's Blonde. This is an album that's very special to me. The reason why is because I was in Cape Cod when this came out. It was right, I left to go there, Cape Cod, right after Endless came out, the visual album. And I was like, okay, I guess this is what he's releasing this year. But no, then he came out of the blue with this project, Blonde. And I remember I woke up, like one day, I was the first one up, and I would go on my phone, and my whole Twitter feed was just Frank Ocean dropped a new album last night. And he posted like on his like Tumblr stuff like that about it, and I was just like, shit, I need to listen to this. And I still remember the first time I listened to Nikes. Like I was in my car. I was going to like a grocery store in Cape Cod. It just like the atmosphere I was in was so perfect, and like it's just such a calm album, but like lyrically it's so like emotional, and it really got to me. And the only reason why this isn't in my top 5 is because I didn't listen to this like a ton. Like the other, like my top 5 is the stuff that I've listened to like a lot. My number 1 is number 1 for a reason. Like I haven't listened to it like a ton because of like the subject matter, but like this is very close to being my top 5. It's hard to describe what this album makes me feel like. But this is like a great R&B and like pop record. And I'm one of the few people that actually think Nikes fits the album. I know a lot of people do not like Nikes because it's very different from the rest of the album, but I think it works. I like the high pitched voice at the beginning. I don't know why. I think it's kind of cool. Frank Ocean has great vocals on here. I love the acoustic elements to it. I love how it gets very like kind of like dark at points. Andre 3000 killed it on the Solar Reprise. But yeah, I cannot get this on vinyl, and I love the album. It's a special record to me. So yeah, Frank Ocean's number 6.
That was your 10 through 6. Now on to my 5 through 2.
Oh
My 5 through 2. Oh boy. So here we go. At number 5, we have my favorite metal band of all time. They desperately needed a comeback. Like, desperately. The last two albums were not that great. So they desperately needed a comeback. And let's just say, folks, they made a comeback. My number 5 is Hardwired to Self-Destruct by Metallica.
Nice.
This was awesome. Okay, I have never felt so like pumped up while listening to an album, like literally raged up while listening to an album all year. Seriously, this was Metallica at its finest. They're finally back. They're sort of kind of finally back to like their heavy metal roots, kind of like how they were back in the 80s and stuff. And it's awesome. If you haven't listened to it yet, please really check it out. It's a great album with, you know, stuff like, you know, Now That We're Dead, Moth into Flame. Either Moth into Flame or Dream No More are my favorite tracks on the album. Like, I also love Confusion or Here Comes Revenge, I Am Savage, like Murder One. Like, there's some really great tracks on here. The guitar is amazing on this album. I absolutely love the guitar. James Hetfield's vocals are great as well. I love his vocals on this album. I think they're honestly great as well. The drumming is really good on here too. I think it's really improved from like the last two albums, especially Saint Anger. So yeah, Metallica's Hardwired to Self-Destruct comes in at my number 5. It was definitely a great comeback record for Metallica. So my number 5 is Hardwired to Self-Destruct by Metallica. Number 4, here's a guy that, you know, he's a very kind of unique individual, if you would say that. He's kind of an enigma, okay, this man. And my number 4 is Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino.
Oh, thank you, dude. Oh, my God.
This dude, listen, Childish Gambino, he is an enigma. Seriously,
yes,
he is.
Yes.
This man is a genius. Okay, Donald Glover is not only a great comedian / actor, but he knows how to be a great, you know, hip-hop artist as well as being his alter ego, Childish Gambino.
Yes.
And this album right here, this has got to be some of his best work he has done to date.
I think it is.
Like, seriously, this album was awesome. And it's very weird, and it's very mystical, and it's very strange, but in a good way. Okay? It's got some great lyrics on here. I love the tracks to this. Me and Your Mama, great opening track. I love that track. You know, Riot's a great track. Probably my favorite track on here is Redbone, because I just love how he kind of has that, like, high-pitched voice to his...
Dude, you know, that's impressive.
What'd you say?
Wait, have you heard him perform that live?
Yes, I did. I saw when he performed down in Jimmy Fallon. Dude, that was impressive. Seriously. The dude is just multi-talented. He really is. Just overall, I thought the album was great. I've listened to it multiple times. When I first listened to it, I was like, okay, this is different. But I started to appreciate it more and more the more times I listened to it. And it's gotten very high on this list. So that's my number 4. Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino. Number 3, here's an album that probably not a lot of people, I don't really see a lot of people talking about it. Not a lot of the people that I watch really reviewed it, which sucks because this band is so great. And they're probably one of the better modern rock bands working today. My number 3 is Who Are You Selling For by the Pretty Reckless.
Okay.
I love this album. I think this is some of the best work the band has done yet. Because I love Light Me Up. That's like their debut album. I thought that was a great album. And, you know, Going to Hell, it was good. It was enjoyable, but it was kind of a misstep from what they did before. This is completely different from anything they've done before. And this is more like sounded like more like a grunge type of grunge type of album. And everybody knows my favorite type of rock music is grunge music. So this is great to me. And this is what I definitely got from that, from like tracks like, the opening track, The Walls Closing In / Hangman. That's probably the best. That is the best track on the entire album. Like songs like Oh My God or Wild City or Living in the Storm, Mad Love, just fantastic, fantastic tracks. I thought Taylor Momsen did some of the best vocal work she's done in her entire career with this album. The guitars are great. Just it sounds like a very grungy type of, album, and I appreciate that so much because, like I said, grunge is my favorite type of rock music, and it's great to see that it's kind of coming back into the limelight, and it definitely proves that with this album, and I hope more people check it out. I really want them to because it's such a great album and it deserves so much more attention. So that's what comes in at number 3 for me, Who You Selling For by the Pretty Reckless. Number two, here's an album that's kind of scary, to be honest. This is like an album, it came out only a few days before this individual unfortunately passed away, and my number 2 is indeed David Bowie's Black Star. Black Star from David Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
This album, it's very tough to listen to.
Yeah,
it's kind of a tough album to listen to because this is kind of like his final goodbye. If you really kind of think about it, this is like his final, like kind of homage, his final goodbye, and he does it in such a great way. This is arguably some of the best work he's ever done in his entire career. Like, I know I've been keep on saying that a lot, but honestly, for David Bowie, just what a way to go out with this album, with songs, of course, like Black Star or Lazarus or Dollar Days or I Can't Give Everything Away. Just fantastic tracks. Probably Lazarus is my favorite track on the entire album. Just a very beautiful track, honestly. I love the instruments with the instrumental with that song as well. It's just a fantastic album that I really think, when I first listened to it, like I said, it was kind of rough to listen to and everything, but I went back to it about last week or so, and I listened to it again. I just appreciate it more and more, and it just got higher on the list for me, and it's just such a brilliant and fantastic album. So that's what comes at number 2 for me, Black Star by David Bowie. So that's my 5 through 2. Now, Mr. Eric, the Random Eric, what is your 5 through 2, my sir? Good sir.
My number 5, I know it's going to piss off a lot of people. I'm sorry, but I absolutely love this album. Travis Scott's Birds of the Chapstick McKnight. Okay, so when this came out, so he announced it like it was coming out like a day before, like when he actually finally announced in the cover, like a day before. I was like, okay, this is going to drop when I was in school. So I was in school and I was able to use my phone and listen to music, and when I was the last hour of the day, and when I was using it, it finally dropped in Apple Music. It was already done on Beats One on like his radio show. And I was like, oh my god, like I loved rodeo so much. And I was like, I finally get to hear new Travis Scott music. And I remember I first listened to it, and I was like, this is like terrible. This is such a bad album. I hated it. But then I listened to it more and more. It eventually growed on me. And then I listened to it. I forget what it was, but I listened to it, and it just clicked. Like right then and there, I'm like, this album is not that deep, really. Like it has moments that are deep. Like I guess the ends and way back are so deep. But this is like a party record. Like
yeah,
it's not an album where you have to go for Genius.com. Okay, like the annotation. What does every fucking lyric mean? And when I eventually realized that. And I just kind of was like, okay, this is a very vibe-ish record. This is the album I've listened to the most this year. After that, I listened to this 24/7. There was a period of time where this was the only album I would listen to for a whole week. And yeah. I'm not even joking with you. I'm serious. I loved this album that much. I remember one time I couldn't sleep. I just listened to this album, and I loved it even more. I love this album so much. My favorite track is First Take featuring Bryson Tiller. Yeah. I love that song so much. Also, you got For the Late Night with Kid Cudi, great track. You got Wonderful featuring The Weeknd, great track. Also, you got The End featuring Andre 3000, which Andre killed that. And and Way Back, which I believe has vocals from Kid Cudi. I mean, just I can't name off how like this album just makes me feel. Like I just like it's such a great album to vibe to, and just have the fucking time of your life during. I love it. I really can't wait to get this on vinyl because everywhere I go to, it's always sold out, and it's like sold out on Amazon right now. So I cannot wait to get this on vinyl at someday. And that is number 5, Burns Trap Segment by Travis Scott. I'm sorry, but I loved it. I liked it like 10 times more than Rodeo, which I loved. So yes. Okay, now number 4. I remember when this album was coming out. Like, it wasn't announced, really, but, like, you knew it was going to come out. And I remember it dropped on a Sunday, and I never listened to it until, like, recently. Ever since I listened to it, I fell in love with it. And I have it on vinyl now, and that is Radiohead's Moon-Shaped Pool. This album is so good. Like, it's very emotional, and it really like gets to you. Like it has like moments that are very like kind of like dark and creepy, but there's moments that are like very like somber and very melancholy and very like retrospective and like just like emotions that like someone's going through and like just like missing something that made you feel a certain way. Like, and then there's almost it's hard to explain like what really like I don't know. It's such a different like album from what I've listened to this year because it's like. You really have to do the lyrics to really understand what this is about because, like, when you have a song like Full Stop, like, that gets, like, so loud in the second half, you know, you gotta listen to the lyrics to see, like, why is it really getting this loud, and when you finally kind of, like, realize what this album's really about, it's a very emotional experience, and now this album's loud. Like, I remember I messaged you on, Facebook when I first listened to this album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a freaking loud record, and it works. And it's not like an album that like has like bad dynamic range. It's mixed well, and yeah, I love this album. It's very emotional, but it works really well. I loved it.
Yeah. You said the whole house shook.
Yes, the whole freaking house shook. I'm not even joking, dude. Like, oh my god, I was surprised my parents told me to turn it down. Because, dude, when I turned on the Outlook and then Burn the Witch, when that came on, it was like, holy crap, this is loud. But it works well, and it helps with the atmosphere of the album because it's a very atmospheric album.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, yeah, I love it. And now, number 3. I'm sorry. This album I thought was excellent. The Life of Pablo by Kanye West.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I knew you were going to put it in.
Dude, I'm sorry. This album, man, I loved it so much. Like, okay, so when it first came out, I thought it was like the worst work Kanye West has ever done. Like, I remember when I listened to it.
I see a trend here with like you thinking that these albums were like bad at first, but then you're like, they're good. They're so good.
Yes. Like, I like that a lot. But like, look, like. It was the weirdest experience. Like, I first listened to it, and, like, I thought the mixing was really bad. It sounded, like, really rushed and unfinished. And, like, I just didn't really, like, get it. But then when the new mastering came out and was released to Alchemist, like, the final version came out. Well, the final version is one with St. Pablo. When that version came out, I listened to the whole thing of it now with the new mastering. Like, you have, like, some more, like, sound effects on, like, songs like FML, like, some more, like, mastering and, like, Power Just My Hands, whatever. And with St. Pablo too. And then it finally clicked in me that this album is really about like the life of Kanye West and how he feels for like out his life now, having so much like fame. That's what I really think this album is about. And that's why I think The Life of Pablo is like the best name. I know he came up with the last minute, but I think it's like a genius name for this album because that's really what it's about. Like keep that idea in mind, The Life of Pablo, while listening to this if you don't like it, and then see if you like it. Because then I feel like you get it. This album is so good. I love the production. I think the production's so much better on the final version. There's some songs that really get me going, like Waves. I love that song. And there's some like songs that are very introspective, like Real Friends and FML, featuring The Weeknd. I mean, like just so many great songs on this. And Power Stretch My Hands. My only other gripe with this album is that I really think Ultralight Beam should have ended the album, and Power Stretch My Hands should have started it. And I really feel like that's what they should have done. But Power Stretch My Hands is a freaking banger. Kid Cudi kills it on part 1. You got freaking Designer, the Panda sample on part 2, but it works. This album is just so well done in my opinion. And I listened to it a lot. Like, it was an album that I really wanted to see live, and I was going to, before he canceled the rest of the tour. But oh well.
He lost his mind.
Yes, he did. Yes, and yeah, that's all I have to say about Life of Pablo. Now, my number 2. When this album was announced, I said to myself, this is going to be my number 2. Like, right away, I'm like, this is going to be my number 2 album of the year, and it actually is. Childish Gambino's Awaken My Love.
Yeah!
So, like, okay. So, when I found it was announced, I was like, oh, finally, it's coming off a new record because the internet is amazing.
Yes.
Great project. So, I was like, okay, I want to hear what this sounds like. So, I listened to Me and Your Mama, and, he's singing. So, I was like, okay, he was singing really well, too. I was like, okay. The thing that really struck me was the song itself. Like, not just him singing.
Yeah.
Me and Your Mama is an insane song. It's crazy. Like, it's so progressive, and it changes so much, and it's just so impactful, and it hits you so hard. And, oh, dude, like, Childish Gambino screaming on that track. I was like, it was so intense, it's just so powerful. And it was like, it's 6 minutes long. Like, the ending is like the last 2 minutes is like a breakdown of the whole song, and like a musical breakdown. And I was just like, and it was still like interesting. I was just like, this is like amazing. And then the full album came out. Like, I listened to Redbone when that came out. I love that track too. Great track. But then when the full album came out, I was just like, this album was freaking amazing. I love the jazz and soul influences. I love like how the electronic influences too. Childish Gambino's singing is great. I think he's a really good singer. I like when he also uses auto-tune like on Zombies and They Want Your Soul. Like They Want Your Soul. Like the auto-tune there, like, oh, it works so well. A little bit of vocoder there too. That's my favorite track of the album. Me and Your Mom is very high up there. Zombies is up there. But I think Baby Boy is also one of my favorites. It's one of those. Me and Your Mama, Zombies, or Baby Boy. Great tracks. Stand Tall is pretty good too. I do think the album does end a bit too abruptly. That's really my only flaw. It's surprising enough. When I first heard Have Some Love, I hated it, which about. And then I didn't like it actually at first. Then when I finally started listening to it more and more, it just grew on me so much. It is such a great track, that in my opinion. So yeah, I love this album. I already pre-ordered the vinyl for $71. Oh my god, that virtual reality vinyl better be worth it, Donald, because I paid $71 for your freaking album on vinyl. So the virtual reality better be good. Yeah, and when I kind of was thinking about virtual reality, I was like, and I watched the Pharaohs Me and Your Mama thing. I was like, yeah, this album's gonna be 10 times better with the virtual reality. So yeah, I cannot wait to see how that is. And I love this album. It's great. That's all to say about Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino. And I love the concept too.
Yeah. Alrighty, we've made it to that point, people. We have made it to the best album of 2016. What is my choice for the best album of 2016? This comes from my second favorite band of all time. That is, of course, Revolution Radio by Green Day. Yes, without question, folks, this is my best album of 2016. I absolutely love this album. I think it's really some of the best work. This is honestly in my top 5, like top 3 best Green Day albums. I would put this with like Dookie and American Idiot, to be honest. This is a fantastic album, and talking about some issues that are going on in the world today, like, with mass shootings and all these protests and everything, touching on issues like that with the song Bang Bang. I mean, it goes into the mind of a mass shooter. That's what the song is about. It goes into the mind of a mass shooter, and it's a fantastic song of how they do that. And with songs like, of course, like Troubled Times, talking about, which I think is the best song on the album, Troubled Times, where it's talking about, we're living in troubled times with, everything that's going on in the world and everything. I think they do a great job with that song as well. Other great songs, like, of course, I like Outlaws. I think Say Goodbye is another great song. Young Blood, I think, is a very underrated track. I don't think a lot of people talk about that one. That one's a great one as well. Still Breathing, love that song. It's such a, has, Billy Joe Armstrong, I think, has great vocals on that track and everything. It's just so phenomenal. The ending track, of course, which is, of course, Ordinary World, which was a song written for their movie, which was written for Billy Joe Armstrong's movie Ordinary World. I think it's a great way to honestly end the track. It was a very nice acoustic type of song to end the album and everything. It just ended it so perfectly. Kind of like with you with that one album that you said you listened for a whole week. This was
Birth of Josh Green.
Yes, this was like me. This was me with this album. I listened to it for a whole week. I just loved it that much. I've listened to it multiple times. I've listened to it at least 6 times in full. It's such a fantastic album. There was no other album in 2016 that I loved more than Revolutionary Radio. And I know some people might think it's kind of me being biased since it's my second favorite band, but it's not really, honestly. It's because I think it's just a great album. There was just no other album in 2016 that I loved more and went back and listened to more than Revolutionary Radio. So yeah, that's my #1 best album of 2016, Revolutionary Radio by Green Day. So, Mr. Randomeric, what is your #1 best album of 2016?
Okay, this really shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Okay, so my #1 is Black Star by David Bowie. Okay, so I was one of the people who listened to this before he died. And I saw my review on my laptop when I reviewed this album. And I gave it a 9 out of 10. And one of the things I said about it, my only flaw was I didn't really understand something. There's an underlying theme in this album. And I didn't get it. And I was like, maybe I'll get it eventually, but for now I do not get it. Then he died. And I heard a lot of people start talking about how this album is about him dying. And I listened to it and I read the lyrics more like deeply.
Yeah.
And I was like, the song's actually about him dying. And this came out on his birthday, his 69th birthday. Then he died a few days later. And I was like, wow, like this is a way to end a career. And that's not the reason why it's my #1.
Yeah.
This album is amazing. Like,
yes.
First of all, you got Black Star, which is such a experimental and like insane like song. Like it's so creepy and so eerie. They have like the second half where it talks about like being a black star. Yeah, then you got Tis a Pity, She Was a Whore. Great track. And then you got Lazarus, which he's talking about him being in heaven and stuff like that, and just that was like being resurrected. Just that was great. Then you got Sewer in a Season of Crime, which is my least favorite track. In my opinion, but it's still a great track. Then you got my favorite track, Girl Loves Me. I don't know why this is my favorite track, but it's just so like heavy and it's just like so dark. And like where the fuck did Monday go? Like that's the Monday. I know the Nina Drop said that. That's what kind of picked that up from. And I was like, shit, like this song is great. Then you got Dollar Days, which I know is a lot of people's favorite track in the album actually. I love this. I love how it's like very like so smooth and kind of like a bit jazzy. Then you got I Can't Get Everything Away. Great track. It's a bit outdated. Sounds a bit outdated to me. David Bowie actually cited Kendrick Lamar and Death Grips as influences for this for the record, and I can really see that because there's a lot of like jazz influences and there's some like dark and like eerie stuff and like lyrics that are kind of like, wait, what? This album's about him dying, and like it's so impactful and it's such an emotional experience, and it gets to you, and it was like a real like it seemed like there's so much care into it.
Yeah. And
like everything was just kind of like planned out so like perfectly. It's just a very impactful record, and I think it's the best album of 2016 because I go back to it when I feel like it. Like it's a hard record to listen to, but when I go back to it, it's an amazing experience, and the vinyl sounds so good too. It's just as an album, it's great. So yeah, I love this project so much. Rest in peace to David Bowie. I was in shock when he died because I listened to it before it came out. Like I said, I don't like him and didn't get it when he died. I was like, wow. And I think I remember it hit me because Darren Locke said something. I believe he said this, that the reason why people who were most affected by his death were the ones who listened to Black Star because we were so invested in that record. Then we found out that he died, and then we realized what the album was really about. And I was one of those people, and I feel that's why it's my #1 because I was hit by it so much, and I love it. So yeah, great project.
Yeah. All right. So that was, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that was our top 10 best albums of 2016.
Yay!
Hopefully, yay, yay! We'll probably do this again for 2017. I had a lot of fun doing this with you. This was great, honestly. And thank you to G. Colby and Metallica Maniac for watching this live. I appreciate you guys coming on here and watching us live. Thank you again, good sirs. Obviously, our lists were very different from each other,
Yes, very
like
different.
really different from each other.
Very different.
And that's great, you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
always fun to have different lists and everything. So, yeah.
Yes, it is.
So I would like to thank my co-star, my guest star for this list, that being the Random Eric. Where could they find you, my friend?
You can find me on YouTube on my channel, The Random Eric. My profile picture should be Kermit drinking milk. Cause I like my dank memes. Yeah, I just do like music and movie stuff on my channel. So I hope you guys will check me out. And yeah, thank you for having me on W. I really appreciate it.
That was our list. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm WWE Fan 0599, and this is
The Random Eric.
and we'll see you all later. Peace.